executive committee of the Joint Economic Community Development Board. You have a set of minutes there in front of you from our August meeting. If you've had a chance to look at those and ready to make a motion, we will. If not, take a minute, look at those minutes, and if there's any corrections or additions we need to make, let us know.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Not all in favor, say aye. Aye. Minutes are approved. Financial report, Phil.
All right, sir. Page 5 is the summary of this month, year-to-date. Point out a couple things. We're 100% funded by the City of Lebanon, and 100% funded by the City of Mount Juliet, and we're 25% funded by Wilson County, which is in accordance with their quarterly funding. All budget line items are in order. Don't see any exception to the report. There's a sales tax report on page 9. Shows another increase for the end of July. Of course, that runs about a month behind. And then immediately behind there is your summary of your monthly spending report. And again, after review, I have no exceptions to note there.
All right. Any questions of the treasurer on the financial report? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report.
Motion.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, financial report's approved. Now we're ready for prospect activity report, you said.
The only thing I would add to the financial report is that we did go ahead and take Emma's position to a full level that was in the budget last year after a 1-year anniversary. So she is at the full budgeted level after being on probation for 1 year. The activity report begins on page 6. We will discuss in general terms what we've been doing. We have quite a bit of interest in our existing industries. We're working with 3 different ones throughout Mount Juliet and in Lebanon here that have outgrown their space, and we're working with developers and with a couple of new buildings coming online to have them cohabitate. So our existing industry base seems to be good, and that's a good number in the manufacturing. We did a lot of work on the 2 applications this time with the state of Tennessee. One is Fast Break, which is a 1 million square foot distribution facility. The Department of Economic Development approved their commitment of $6.7 million in grant and training for that company. The Department of Transportation also approved $900,000 on that project. Also in the report here, we went to the budget committee, and the budget committee approved our local pilot agreement on that project. So we've done a lot of work on the applications. We got Mount Juliet assemble that application, get it to the state, and the state has approved that. That project is moving forward. We did the same thing on project conviction. We helped the city, or actually just put the application together for project conviction. That project is being considered by the state loan review committee. It's supposed to be on Tuesday. They didn't get to it. It'll probably be next week. So in regards to those 2 projects, we also took that, as I said, to the budget committee. It was approved. Project Fast Break was approved by the budget committee. It was such a heavy agenda that night, I decided not to take the project conviction to the board or to the budget committee. Also probably waiting to see what the Department of Economic Development is going to do with it. It's probably a good time. We are still sitting on that because the team put it together, the summary of the pilot program since its start, how many projects we've approved, what has been in jobs, and we're ready to present that to this committee. We'll present it to the budget committee. Just sort of what the best timing is. Mayor, I would sort of leave it up to you. I know you have new members or appointments, so we're
Next month, and so next month would be a great time if you want to do that.
bring me up to speed, how is the budget committee appointed or elected?
It's elected this next week of Monday night, commission floor. So there'll be 5 members. It could be the same, could be different.
Okay.
But their first time will be next month, so it would be a great time to give them
October's a good time to
orientation,
give them the summary of the program.
how it works.
Would it be a good time to present one too for their consideration? Depending on the membership, I would think.
That probably just depends on what your time frame is. I mean, if you gotta have it done, then you do. If you don't, it might be good to break it up. But
If we can postpone it a month, we will. If not, we'll present the project conviction for them. So next month, we'll go over the summary of the pilot program at this table. Mr. Rochelle, we -1, all the work for the Hollister project that was done for the 3-year abatement. Now,
They still kept the real estate, but, excuse me, they kept the personal property, but they gave up the real property.
which was the
because-
real number.
Yeah, which is where the money was. But it was, this was one that was where the land was owned by the California State Teachers Retirement Plan. And it took them a year to put it together. And they had very little savings after they paid all of the expense that it involved, and had 3 or 4 sets of attorneys that it dealt with over the period of time. Finally get it in effect in December of 2013. They're waiving it and expected, Bill signed the documents to let it back out of the proposal so that hopefully it'll be filed soon, but they'll be back on the tax rolls now.
I don't remember what that number was. Was it a $12-15 million building?
I don't.
You know,
I was thinking
at the end of the
30
day,
and
we
7, but-
proposed, it was part of their
30 and 7.
negotiation, it affected their decision, and then, in this case, we get it back. So, it's,
And it was not that much of a savings for them when you considered all their expense, because they had 2 different parties, they had to have lawyers for each one of them. And they had an enormous legal expense in putting it together.
I think you mentioned that at the time, but you didn't say a lot of savings, but they wanted to go ahead.
Yeah.
You called that months ago.
yeah, so that's, we'll go over that. You know, I think there's probably 9 that's been passed, there's a couple that we passed that haven't come to the industrial board. And
Maybe too late.
sometimes they just
Try to get
don't
it done by September the 1st, if I can, but they slowed down. And they started about the middle of August. We'd gotten back home by September the 1st. I had a way that I could get the assessor to add them on for the rest of the year. But since it occurred after September,
Hey, when,
I think we can. Do it.
after the first, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be, I was thinking when I built houses, they'd come and catch me 6 months and assess me the extra on the house and hadn't sold yet or anything.
Rather than or less than.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, the statute goes to September 1st, I think.
Okay, so we'll take the report in October to the budget committee, and we'll make a decision on the other project, depending on where they are. I did go to Memphis this last month for the Southern Economic Development Association annual meeting. I was on that program. That was about 400 economic development folks around the southeast. So I spent a lot of time putting the program together, raising money, and doing that. So it's done. I've got 1 more year as the state director in that position. We have worked with Caleb and Kenny and different people at Mount Juliet on putting together state industrial applications for a project conviction and for a project fast break. So we had those things put together. Appreciate the work of Caleb. It was just sort of sitting there. Again, we're trying to get ahead of anything on our end locally that might hold up either of those 2 projects. Projection-wise, I think they will have an announcement on fast rate before the end of the month. That will be involve the governor and everybody here. But they will handle that. But we're sort of out of the way. And as far as Project Fast Break, Mayor, we had talked about going to 4 Lakes and getting some funding and arranging in some local training, maybe through the center. The city was asked to look at abatement of some fees there. We're going to go to the industrial or the development board to have reimbursements. The state asked us not to do that this month because they didn't want publicity on that it might be for a pre-announcement. I don't know when they want us to do that. I told them they jeopardize getting that commitment after any announcement, so we'll just see how that is. But it's a small amount of money for what that project is, so I don't know what that is. Mike, on your project radio in your building in Watertown, she was back in. You did meet with her. She is meeting with TVA, or has met with TVA. She still meets with the local contractor here, trying to negotiate improvements in cost. I think those costs are higher than what she thought they were going to be, but they're still working through those numbers. So, you know, her schedule was to be in the building sooner, but it's still, she still has intentions of buying the building. It's now it's the modifications to it.
Right.
And so we took.
Not heard anything else from her, so I'm assuming no news is good.
She's still dealing with Louis Burris, and he has come back, and we did a bid for her. And certainly what we saw yesterday at the announcement of that project, you know, he does good work. So he's, hopefully he'll get to stay with her and give her what she wants. It's just, I guess, some sticker shock right now. 6 or 8 months ago, we were involved in the 3-star certification process. We thought the chamber was going to be doing that, but sort of fell on our desk at the last time. We put all that together. Amy and I did, approved. We are a 3-star community again. What that means to us is communities that have to provide matching funds, or companies have to provide matching funds for grants, gives a 5% break. So our grant rate goes up. So that's, it needs to be done different next year. You have to, Tammy, is it recertified every year or every 2 years? I think it's 2 years, but we need to we need to make a better effort at that with who's going to coordinate that, either the new chamber director or let us have a part of it or whatever.
Is that just Lebanon?
It's for Wilson County. It's a designation of Wilson County. But Sue had already sort of had in the past taken care of that. It's probably a good project for us to do as a county, or your office to do as a county, but we just need to. Yeah. Maybe we'd be glad to push that over on your staff anytime you want to. But it is a county certification, and we did take that. If we're going to do it, we just need to have more training and
That's
time.
more my next quarter payment
Okay, we can probably do some of it. We can negotiate that. We did work with Mayor Craighead on the Project Legends, or the Good Sports, putting together some information from him, also putting together some meetings. Well, Mayor, if you have anything you want to talk about, or we, you know, it's moving forward, so we just provide you any assistance we can on that. I needed 3 more hours of professional development, so I did go to Louisville and spend 2 days. Excuse me, I thought I was going to Louisville until I got in the car I was going to drive, found out it's Indianapolis I was driving to. But I did spend 2 days in a session there, got some good things from that. So yeah, I was heading in the right direction, so it wasn't, but yeah, it is another hour and a half out of Louisville when you head that way. But I appreciate the office paying for that, 3 hours of professional development. We had an individual, a nonprofit organization come here that we dealt with that had the interest in this building. We're working with them, and they're trying to buy their facility. Then let's, Tammy continues to mail retail development, or retail opportunity packages. We have 5 solid folks that we sent that out to this month too. Try to go to the right chamber meetings and be present at those things without taking a lot of time, but that's our activities for the month, Mr. Chairman.
All right, are you ready to move into old business?
Or the projects?
Projects, okay, I'm sorry. I guess I was moving along a little too quickly there.
We had 10 active new projects that we dealt with this month. Those of importance are probably the first 2 or 3. Again, the automotive industry is really strong here, continues to be strong. 100,000 to 250,000 square foot buildings is 300 to 400 employees. We are in the process of that actual project is something 25, 30 pages in questions. It goes on and on and on. Fortunately, we had about 10 days to do that. It's due out end of this week. But again, if you're looking at trends for new projects, it's still automotive, it's still plastic, and still some food things going on. So that's what you'll see there in new projects. The active projects that we still need to talk about, we talk about conditioning, you know what that is. Fast break is both of those projects are here. Radio mic, your project. Engage on page 8 is, we've had some more movement on that. That was health facility operations. Now there's a more retail component to that. So we had meetings with the retail folks. I know we're a little short on time. You know, we run through all these projects a couple of times each month, checking them, see where they are. Sometimes there's activities we get from them. Sometimes there's not. But we do follow up on those every month on these to see where they are. So what's coming in is still good projects. We respond to them. Mayor, I got the same email I think you got yesterday from Brunswick. We need to talk about, again, land again, and rail serve. I think they're trying to do something on September 25th. I believe that was some, and I responded back to them and said we can meet. But again, long term, where do we put our projects? Rail serve project at Balt's Farm, if we get a road to it. We've had some interest in Cherry Farm again on the rail project. So if Brunswick and them want to, I don't think, Brad Mall with TVA that was here that day has changed positions. He's sort of in that area of land development. So he may have some other things to offer, but we still need to look if that's what we're going to be trying to do. That's, Mr. Chairman, you know, short report. I know we have some time constraints, but that's sort of where we are. I don't, unless you have questions on the activities or projects or something else we may need to be speaking about.
Wilson County continues to be a hot spot. People interested in projects.
We do. I mean, I don't put a lot of solid confidence in our unemployment rate, but you know, we're third lowest again in the state. We still have 3,900 people unemployed. That's what I think the number, and those folks that aren't looking for jobs probably need to be. But if you look at our numbers and our investments, you know, we're in good shape. One thing that was on the activity report I did mention, I did spend some time with Price Thompson concerning a lawsuit on landowners on the Bel Air project. We had an hour or so meeting here. Yesterday, we had a 3-hour deposition concerning the property. Basically, did we see any activities of the group not trying to promote or sell the property? And all my comments were that we saw that activity. And I think that's the charge of the lawsuit, but 3 hours of that is all I ever want to be involved in the attorney business. So, but that was 3 or 4 attorneys there and 3 or 4 on the phone. But that lawsuit has been going on 2 to 3 years. So they did come to us and ask what our observations were.
I just can't imagine people not liking attorneys. But I guess people like that.
He seemed to be surprised that so many attorneys like to sit in one room
And talk.
and listen.
Do you get paid less if you just listen, or is it just one flat fee? Listen or talk?
You'll let that as somebody else about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's, just for your information, that's what has been going on there. And we were part of that over the last month.
All right, any questions of GC? Another good report that he gives us monthly. Anybody have any questions or comments? All right, now are we ready to move on to old business?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we have any old business?
Tammy, anything?
All right. Do we have any new business?
I'm gonna give you a story over in Trousdale County where we've been, Four Lakes has been working for years trying to develop a nuclear plant. They and Smith and Macon are classified according to tiers, as every county is, and the lower your income level, average income level, then the higher reward you can get from the state to recruit industry in. Well, of course, they've got the new prison in, but it hasn't started paying folks yet, but they got other things they've been trying to do with the nuclear plant, and they had this major project coming. And because people in Trousdale County, that's what I'm told, because they've been going to work in Gallatin and Wilson County, such, their income level has gone up. So that under the state rules, they're now eligible for less incentives to bring jobs to their own community. And I thought that does not seem to be good policy for the state. I mean, we want to produce good jobs here, and we want to entice folks to come in and work at those jobs too. But you don't want to drain the Upper Cumberland like they drained West Tennessee. As many people as we've grown in Middle Tennessee, they've lost in West Tennessee in the last 20 years. You can see that same sort of thing happening. So hopefully, as you're having discussions with folks at the state as to particularly their rankings and such as that, I don't think we're not in the business. We're in the business to improve Wilson County, but we're not in the business to hurt anybody else, particularly that rural area of the Upper Cumberland. So anyway, thought it was interesting, a side result of somebody's success.
Would it not be better, you think, to base those figures on the payroll in each county, not the people, but the payroll, maybe from their employers?
Well, I thought that's what they would have done, but
And to add to that project, they had a project announced that made the airbags, the explosive device that had announced there, and had given them a grant based upon the tier 2 or tier 3 level, which they were. And then toward the middle of the stream, oh, by the way, now you're tier 1, so your grant rate is this. So not only did they sort of change the status, they changed the grant award, which was really, I don't think, fair.
they get notified on July the 5th or 6th. Oh, by the way, we got this, but July 1st it changed. So
Change the game at
your
halftime.
benefits change, and we've got to go renegotiate the deal. It's coming in, it looks like they're going to be able to renegotiate it, but it's calling in Four Lake to be involved to try to implement it, and the county's being pushed.
Yeah,
But changing those numbers
Yeah, once you
really
make a
makes it
deal.
even more difficult.
it does, you know. We've witnessed that a little bit in Watertown, as I've mentioned to Mayor Craighead, Mayor Hutto, and Mayor Haggerty. You know, it's hard to recruit industry to Watertown when they have to drive on the interstate by 11 and Mount Jude and Wilson County. It's hard to get them that way. You get them away from the interstate, you got a shot, but it's hard to get them away from there. They like that visibility. Can't blame them for that.
A couple articles in the paper today, Speedway sale deadline extended. I was not aware of that this morning, but it says they have, extended the time. I don't know if that's anything that we need to discuss.
I think that was some of the stuff discovered in the time work on the cemetery
Roads.
Okay.
It was kind of a due diligence issue.
It appears in this article it is, but then there's some other flashes that, the Speedway deal done, so it's depending on how the press presents it.
I was asked yesterday by a gentleman, wanted to know what the status was.
Looks like they have some extended deadlines to close.
I really think today I'll be able to tell him that or buy a copy of the Lebanon Democrat.
I think it's the end of September.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Any other business of any kind around the table? Know everybody's busy and got their own commitments in their jobs. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We're adjourned.